Turn pain to progression in every studio session. Turn pain to progression in every studio session. Turn pain to progression in every studio.
Welcome to Pain to Progression with Regis Arzu, money management for the rest of us. Who's the rest of us? If you need or previously needed public assistance, you are the rest of us. There's no shame in it. It's just means to an end, and I promise you there's an end, with a light at the end of that tunnel. So today I want to spend some time answering one of the biggest questions I get, which is, okay, Regis, you got me believing I can be financially successful one day. So, where do I start? How do I start? In this episode, I'm going to break down the answer to this question in 3 easy steps. Now, before I tell you the steps, I want you to know that these steps are actionable items that I want you to do as soon as possible. These steps are how you get closer to success. Anyone can listen to a podcast, but it's what you do with that information that gets you closer to where you want to be. I can only give you the information. It's up to you to take that action. Remember when you were desperate and you hustled to figure it out, whether it was asking around for money or working overtime or desperately looking for a job? I want you to use that drive and that hustle to do these 3 simple things because this is your starting line to success. Do these and I guarantee you're going to get there. And I don't use the word guarantee very lightly. I am that confident in these 3 steps. So these 3 steps are what I call the know, creating a budget and following it, and opening up a savings account. That's it. I'm going to repeat it again. The know, creating a budget and following it, and opening up a savings account. But those are just steps without context. So let's dig into the meat. The know, what does that mean? Now I want to clarify. I mean know. K-N-O-W, not N-O. So there's been many times where I ask people for their interest rates on their credit cards, and most of them don't know what it is. I ask for the balance on all their credit cards in total, and they don't know what that is. And then I even ask them for how much monthly bills they have in total, and they don't know what that is. Actually, I want to ask you, do you know what's the interest rate on your credit card with the largest balance? If you do know, kudos to you. If you don't know, I think I know why. I think psychologically, we don't want to know. People think, what is knowing the interest rate on my credit card going to do for me except make me depressed? All I need to know is, I need my card, I have a balance, I'll pay what I need to pay, and that's it. But what about the other side of that thought? What if I tell you that your interest rate is 25 to 29%, which most likely it is right now? To put that in perspective, if you buy a $10 meal with your 29% credit card, you're paying almost $3 in interest for that meal. That's $13 in total. To put that more in perspective, it doesn't sound like a lot, but what if I ask you for $3 and you give it to me and then I just throw it in the garbage? If you know I was going to throw $3 of your money in the garbage, would you give me that money? That's what you're doing, just throwing money in the garbage. Now multiply that $3 by all the times last year you spent buying $10 or more in food. All that money in the garbage. Now that you know that, would you think twice about using your credit card to buy McDonald's, for example? Knowing what your interest rate will make you think twice about using your card next time. Same thing with knowing your income and your outcome. If you know how much you have on monthly bills in comparison to how much you make, then you will know how much you can spend and how much you can put into savings. So to explain what I'm asking for you to do, the know is to write down the following information and know your information. Write down all your monthly bills. Write down what your minimum payments on your credit cards are. Write down how much you make out of pocket. Write down all your monthly bills, your rent, your water bills, your electric bills, your cable. Also, don't forget your extra stuff like Netflix, Spotify, Amazon, the gas or your transportation money, and even your Disney Plus. Write down your credit card balance and its interest rates, and write down your student loans and all their interest rates if you have multiple. And pretty much write down anything that has to do with knowing where your money goes. This will be your guide, and you will continue to use this to help you save and budget. And for future reference, you should do this once or twice a year. And if you're married, you should do this with your spouse regularly as well. If you want, feel free to pause it and do this now. Or if you do this later, take this information and save it and use it for the next steps. And also, as you do this, pay attention to how you feel when you find out your interest rates and how much you spend on your bills. Like a single person paying $150 in cable, that's a lot when you can have Netflix and Hulu for $15 a month. And Just borrow your cousin's Netflix or Hulu for free and save that $150. But that's between you and I. So now that you have all that information, it'll either make you sad seeing all that debt or actually make you knowledgeable and empower you. The goal is the latter. But what do you do with the information now? Which leads to our next step. Build a budget. A budget is a plan on what to do with your money. This is the plan that will lead you to success. Every person that has $1,000 to $100,000 saves and has a budget. If you don't have a budget, one, you now know why you don't have that much money saved, and now you know what you're doing wrong, which is fine, because the second thing is you know what you need to do to get where you want to be. So I'm going to talk some numbers now, and I hope I don't lose you. For example, if you make $1,000 a month and you have $600 in monthly bills, that leaves you with $400 left. If you get paid twice a month, that's $200 a check you have left over. Let me explain that a little bit. That's $400 left over divided by 2, which is $200 per check. So now you can budget $100 a check, which could go to your groceries, and $50 for fun, and the last $50 can go to your savings account. So, to explain better, out of the $400 you have left over a month, that's $200 a month to groceries, $100 a month for fun, and $100 a month going to savings account. Now, a few things I want you to know. That's just an example, and you can tweak those numbers to what you make. Another thing is that it's important to budget for fun. Fun can mean budget for some drinks, buying clothes, and any other legal recreational activities. No judgment. Budgeting for yourself is important because it's easier to save when you don't feel a constraint to have fun. I think when we think of budget, we envision eating bread and drinking water and being unhappy. But it doesn't have to be that. You can have fun and budget. Just remember, when the money for the budget is gone, then you have to wait for the next check. That's how you live paycheck to paycheck, but don't become a person that's surviving check to check. I hope that makes sense. And now for step 3, save. I realized a long time ago that the secret to not living paycheck to paycheck is saving. I realized it because one day my job sent my check to another person by mistake. Now, I don't know how that happened, but it did. And at first I panicked, but then I realized I had money saved in the bank, so I took it. What I did was the amount that I regularly get in my check, I transferred it to my account to spend. And then when my job got the money back to me, I put that money back into my savings account. And that didn't make me live paycheck to paycheck. Saving is extremely important, y'all. It not only saves you from living paycheck to paycheck, but you'll need this money in case of emergencies. And as you know, there's always an emergency. Like now, think about all the money you spent on crap last year, and if you would have saved that money and put it in the bank, imagine how much more secure you would be feeling during this time right now. And another thing saving does, it stops you from using your credit card. We're told that we should use our credit cards in case of emergencies, and technically that's what you've been doing when you don't have cash. But that's not how credit cards work. Your own savings should be your emergency fund, and your credit card should only be used if you're stranded with no cash, for example, or if you travel, because credit cards have better security for you. So to clarify, don't think about your credit card as your emergency money. Don't think about your credit card at all. You need to save, and that has to be your emergency money. In fact, I recommend you cut your credit card right now. But that's another episode and another call to action for another day. I recently had a person that I help and I work with call me to tell me that he's not working because he got let go because of these trying times. And he called me to tell me that he typically would be nervous, but since I've started helping him, he's saved $10,000. I've been working with this person for quite some time. And he told me that he also has credit cards that he knows he shouldn't use, but he has it as a backup plan. And that if worst case scenario, he has $35,000 in case of emergencies. And that's the savings money in addition to credit cards that he has just out there. And then he also told me that he's not scared through all these corona crisis. He let me know that savings and his state of mind in savings put him in this position. I was super ecstatic to hear that. And that's what I want for you if you're not there yet. So to bring it back to savings, make sure you budget to have money regularly deposited to your savings account. Now, what I mean by savings account, open up an online savings account. Now your savings account that you have with your major bank like Chase or Wells Fargo, you should open up an online savings account. For example, and this is just an example, HSBC has their own online savings account called an HSBC Direct Savings, and their interest rate is 1.7% right now. But they also have brick and mortar banks, and the interest rates on those savings accounts are 0.01%, not even 1%. And this is why I want you guys to open up online savings accounts. To find an online savings account that best works for you, go to bankrate.com and search online savings account. I'll have the website on my show notes. Okay, so now that you've opened this account, when you open the account, the money that you have budgeted to go to savings, you should automatically have it deposited to your online savings account. If your job offers savings direct deposit, you can just have whatever you budgeted for to automatically go to this online savings account. If your job does not offer direct deposit, what you can do is set up bill pay with your major bank. And what bill pay is a way to go to your online access from your regular bank, not to mistake with your online savings account, and then set up a bill pay, which is an automatic check to go from your regular account to your bill pay account. And it'll just send a check to that other account by itself without you doing anything. And you can set this up automatically. And the third thing is, if you don't want to set up bill pay, just consider this savings account a bill. And what I mean by that is, with your online savings account, the HSBC Direct account, for example, you can set it up for it to automatically withdraw the money from your regular account, like a bill, and then it'll just do that regularly, and it'll just go into your account. So the key is to save, no matter what it is. If it's $5 a month or $300 a month, just build that habit of savings. I promise you won't regret it. And another thing I want you to do is add additional money to that savings account. What I mean by that is, if you have overtime money that you did for working extra, put that extra money into your savings account. Or if you have extra money from your income tax, put that money in your savings account. It'll add up really fast. I promise. If you do the savings and forget it, you will not regret it at all. I actually have to tell you about how this process helped me buy my first house by mistake. Yep, by mistake. So I had my money directly deposited to my online savings account, and I didn't pay attention to it for about a year. My plan was to look into buying a house at some point. But a friend told me, why don't you talk to a mortgage rep so they can at least tell you what you need to get to the point where you can buy a house. So I did, and when I spoke to that mortgage rep, she told me exactly how much I needed, so I checked my online savings account and realized that I had that much money. So then the mortgage rep asked me, do you want to proceed and buy this house? And I was like, yeah. And that's how I bought my house by mistake. So, to wrap this all up, if you want to get to the financial comfort and success you feel you deserve, I highly recommend you do your know, create a budget, and open up a savings account and use it. I am guaranteeing you that if you do these, you won't regret it. I do want to disclose, it's not easy at all. It's definitely easier said than done, but nothing worthwhile comes easy. My call to action is to do these 3 things and email me at pain2progression@gmail.com and let me know how much you saved in either 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. I'm super excited to see how this works out for you. Okay, Pain to Progression family, hopefully this was extremely informative for you. I'll see you Wednesday, where I'll take more of your questions and answer them. You can send me your questions at my Pain to Progression Facebook page or my email address at pain2progression@gmail.com, which I'll add on my show notes. Now, this information is for you to use and grow financially, but it's also for you to please share with at least 3 other people you know that can use this information to grow financially. Paying this forward is how we build generational wealth. Let's take this information and flip the world upside down. See you at the end of the tunnel of that success train. Bye.